Good evening and welcome. You're watching the Friday edition of Reality Check. I'm Vishnu Shom. It's now a political debate. Is the situation along the line of actual control in Arunachal Pradesh and Ladakh, with Rahul Gandhi stepping into this debate by making remarks on what the government is doing or isn't doing on the LAC with China in a press conference. He's hit out at the centre, calling them a centre which is sleeping. The BJP is hit back fiercely, and they've accused the Congress of having been involved in bribery involving funds from China in the past. Let's listen in to what Rahul Gandhi said and let's listen in to what the BJP said and then start our debate.
जो चाइना का थ्रेट है और मुझे तो वो क्लियर, और मैं इसको अब 2-3 सालों से कह रहा हूं, वो बिल्कुल क्लियर है और सरकार उसको छुपाने की कोशिश कर रही है, सरकार उसको इग्नोर कर रही है, मगर उस थ्रेट को ना छुपाया जा सकेगा और ना इग्नोर किया जा सकेगा। हिंदुस्तान की सरकार सोई हुई है। इस बात को हिंदुस्तान की सरकार सुनना नहीं चाहती है, मगर उनका प्रिपरेशन चल रहा है और प्रिपरेशन युद्ध का है। प्रिपरेशन कोई इंकर्शन का नहीं है, प्रिपरेशन युद्ध का है।
माननीय गृह मंत्री जी ने चाइना से रिश्वत, एक तरफ से रिश्वत लेके कांग्रेस पार्टी ने राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन को, एक तरफ से रिश्वत है, वो आप कुछ भी बोलो, डोनेशन वगैरह, इट इज ए टाइप ऑफ करप्शन। वो पैसा लेके क्या क्या किया है ये सवाल उठाया है, और कितना लैंड कांग्रेस के कालखंड में, नेहरू जी के कालखंड में स्पेशली, और बाद में कैसे हमारा परमानेंट मेंबरशिप इन्होंने सैक्रिफाइस करके चाइना को दिया, ये सब इट इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ द पीपल।
And this is what the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had said about the recent face-off, the skirmish, the violent one between Indian and Chinese soldiers in Arunachal Pradesh.
9 दिसंबर 2022 को पीएलए ट्रुप्स ने तवांग सेक्टर के यांगसे एरिया में लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल पर अतिक्रमण कर स्टेटस को एक तरफा बदलने का प्रयास किया। चाइना के इस प्रयास का हमारी सेना ने दृढ़ता के साथ सामना किया है, अध्यक्ष महोदय, और मैं इस सदन को अवगत कराना चाहता हूं कि हमारे किसी भी सैनिक की न तो मृत्यु हुई है और न ही कोई गंभीर रूप से घायल हुआ है।
Well, joining us now, Prakash Chandra Sharma of the BJP. We're also joined by Charan Singh Sapra of the Congress Party, and we're also joined by Major General Sanjay Meston. Thank you all very much for being with us. Mr. Sapra, let me come to you first. What was the need for Rahul Gandhi to make political points on something which affects all parties, all Indians? Why get into politics?
No, see, I feel what Shri Rahul Gandhi ji is trying to say, BJP wants to interpret in a way that suits them. What Rahul ji meant to say is that why the Narendra Modi government doesn't want to have an elaborate discussion in the parliament. What are they trying to hide? There are so many things which needs to be discussed. There needs to be a different policy to be framed as far as China is concerned, because there is an escalation not only towards Pangong Tso or Galwan, but now the escalation is towards Arunachal Pradesh also. And let me also remind you, the same thing was pointed out by the BJP member parliament Tapir Gao last year in the parliament itself. He had stated on the floor of the parliament that the Chinese have escalated and there is a aggression. They are building helicopter strips. They are building villages over there. All these details were given by the BJP member parliament Tapir Gao, but still Narendra Modi government turned a blind eye towards it. So Shri Rahul Gandhi is just trying to say that as far as China is concerned, the BJP government should not be lenient. They should not take it lightly. They should frame up a firm policy. But I feel that the BJP government or Narendra Modi is worried about his muscular image.
No, but
that his muscular
Mr. Sapra,
image
what
should
I
not
don't
get
understand
dented.
is why did Rahul Gandhi have to refer to Indian soldiers being beaten in Tawang? In fact, the video which we saw, which is not of the incident that is relevant, which took place on the 9th of December, right? This is an older video, and this certainly doesn't show Indian soldiers being beaten. So has he missed the point over here of what this video conveys, or of what the video or what has taken place on the 9th of December, because on the 9th of December, India held our ground. The post which the Chinese were trying to take over, they couldn't.
See, definitely, Vishnu, there is a issue at Tawang. Prime Minister or the BJP government cannot deny it at all. There is some problem over there which the government needs to discuss, which the government needs to pay attention to, and it needs an elaborate discussion. Why the government doesn't want to discuss in the parliament with all the parties? They can have a smaller group and also discuss.
Okay, that's a fair point, Prakash Chandra Sharma. Why isn't the BJP willing to discuss everything on the LAC threadbare? And don't tell me national security, because there's a lot which can be discussed as well, which is not being discussed.
Vishnu, one thing I want to tell Mr. Sapra, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not the Prime Minister of the BJP government. It's a government of India. And after that, I just want to tell you one thing. Instead of condemning China's hostile and wayward behavior and condemning Pakistan Foreign Minister too for his dirty remarks of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, the scion of Gandhi dynasty, is resisting and doing this unfortunate and unfounded issues and doing propaganda politics.
Now again he wants to give a spin by bringing in Pakistan
and of India on such sensitive issue on national security. How he knows about all the things? Is he the agent of China about it? He don't believe the Indian government. He don't believe the Indian army. They have made their propaganda part and just blaming the Indian government. It means they are blaming the Indian.
Mr. Sapra is saying, why isn't there a discussion in Parliament on this? Isn't that a fair point?
No, who would stop you? You are just disturbing the Parliament. You don't want to discuss the Parliament into it. And something that is not very important. That is not about important. You are
not important to discuss this in Parliament.
You are disturbing the Parliament.
Mr. Sharma, how is it not important to lay threadbare the situation in Ladakh and in Arunachal Pradesh on the floor of Parliament?
See, Vishnu, again I want to tell you, the way Mr. Rahul Gandhi is, promoting China and the government of China, not condemning by them, and rather he is making a propaganda kind of things. The incident happened in Tawang, and after that, the Defence Minister of Government of India put his remarks there in the Parliament. The moment the minister started his remarks, they started shouting out. Their behavior is very clear. They don't want to debate it. Rather, they want to start the state of confusion into the Parliament and into the public of India. And on some sensitive issues.
I'm not sure that's really answered my question, but Mr. Sapra, go ahead, respond.
See, I feel even the BJP spokesperson on the panel, he's trying to give a spin by bringing in Pakistan also. They might bring in the statement of Bilawal Bhutto, which went against the Prime Minister. But we are totally not connected with that. We are saying that regarding China, the present government needs to be careful. But BJP is trying to hide. And why they are trying to hide, because they are hand in glove with so many Chinese companies. Like, for example, in Gujarat, in Dholera, they have signed 43,000 crore MOUs. They have signed with the Chinese companies. What is the relation between BJP and the UC Web Mobile Company? What is the relation between BJP and Dongfab Company, which was banned by World Bank, Europe, as well as US? But the same company was given contract by Narendra Modi government in Jammu and Kashmir for smart meters. Now, these are the smart meters through which they can pass on the important data of people of Jammu and Kashmir. So such a vital thing, they have given it to a Chinese company. The trade with China has, increased up to $115 billion within 1 year. And also the trade deficit has increased to $74 billion.
Mr. Sapra, one sec, not a monologue. You made very important points. Let Mr. Sharma reply. Go ahead, sir. Mr. Sharma.
Okay.
See, Vishnu, one thing is very clear. By adding so many points at the same time, they are not talking on the point. Two things are very different. Business is totally different. The border security is totally different. The government is totally different. And diplomacy is totally different.
That's not what the government has said. The government has said, Mr. Sharma, that's factually incorrect. The government has said repeatedly it is not business as usual with China unless the situation is resolved in Ladakh and elsewhere in the LAC or McMahon line.
But business has increased.
The point that is being
So many,
made now
like
is that it appears to be businesses as usual. So how is there a difference between what we see on the ground and what the government says?
One thing is very clear, Vishnu. If you will see so many preventive issues where the sensitive issues are there, government has banned so many Chinese companies, Chinese financials, Chinese fund into this capital market. Apart from that, the companies who was doing against it, they have already barred it. And they are very sensitive. The companies who has invested from the China, they are very limited, and after heavy scrutinization of it, we have banned so many Chinese applications also. So that is very two things we are just matching over here. If this we are doing about the
that has been done, but I don't think that answers the entire point. But both of you, one minute. Both of you, I'll come back to both of you. General Meston is waiting. General Meston, does it help anybody that this now becomes a political issue? Because I don't see our political leaders from any political party having anything constructive to say about what the nature of the threat is. They target each other. They don't talk about the nature of the threat. They don't talk in specifics about how India needs to arm itself further, whether we need to arm ourselves further, what the technological divide actually is, what China's doctrine of warfare actually is, what are the lessons that India can possibly learn from the Ukraine conflict. It's just basic political shilling against each other.
Vishnu, Jai Hind. I think you have raised a very pertinent issue. Starting from the Russia-Ukraine conflict, I think the first lesson which the entire nation must carry forward, and especially our political classes, to be totally united as a nation. In case of Ukraine, the entire country is united as one. Despite the adverse winters, the entire armed forces is being led very well, and the entire political parties and everyone is united as one, including the people. So I think issues pertaining to national security, yes, they need to be talked about, but probably not on TV debates, because what happens is the public, they get a very wrong perception. Some people start asking, are we so ill prepared? And even the statement which has been made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi, see, I am not to support any political party or against it, but I as a soldier would state that this statement actually lacks in terms of ground realities. So the perspective, it goes down to the people. My job as a soldier is to correct the perspective. Now coming on to specifically to the LAC issue, I would be very candid. Firstly, all the infrastructure which is being built over a period of time, it has been happening since last 20-30 years. We have been having roads and tracks going up, and now, yes, in the last 8 years, I will be also very candid, the situation has changed, especially in terms of infrastructure. Impetus has been there solid. For example, the Border Roads Organization, which is constructing the roads and now also going to construct the frontier trans-frontier highway in Arunachal Pradesh, about 100 kilometers of the LAC. What has happened? Devolution of powers has been there to the BRO. That means up to the commandant level, he has got independent action to take a decision and do things very, very quickly. So these things are helping us. Yes, impetus has been given, but it is not that everything is happening of late. It has been happening over a period of time. For example, I was commanding my brigade in Nathula. There already 2 road access. My command was in 2009-10. That is the time Nathula was totally connected with 2 access, road access. One was a
All right, so these roads have been constructed over a period of time. General Meston, I would tend to disagree with you somewhat over there. In fact, that's my next question to Charanjit Sapra. Mr. Sapra, there is a huge infrastructure and impetus now with roads in this government. It's a fact. The number of roads being built in Ladakh and in Arunachal Pradesh, the pace of road construction has never been seen. We are spending thousands of crores of rupees. If you look at the Doklam area, in 2017 we had a face-off. But the track which was actually being constructed by the Chinese was being constructed well over a period of time when the Congress was in power. What were you doing?
See, Vishnu, let me remind you that over a period of time, whatever governments were there, whether it was Congress government or the non-Congress government, every government has worked towards infrastructure in the border area.
No,
we are
sir.
not questioning that.
Not really.
Let
But
me,
sir, that's factually incorrect.
Vishnu,
Mr.
some
Sapra, that is
governments can-
factually incorrect.
Vishnu,
It is
let me
factually incorrect
speak.
in Arunachal
Let me
Pradesh. It is
speak.
factually
Let me
incorrect in
speak.
Ladakh as well.
Let me speak. I am coming to your point. Some governments in their tenure must have worked more. Some governments in the tenure must not have worked more. But what I am trying to stress today, the issue is not that. Issue is why there is no discussion in the parliament. When Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had a discussion in 1962, when a special parliament session was called on the demand of opposition leader Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when Pandit Nehru could have special parliament session and 165 MPs spoke in that. And accordingly,
I take that point, Mr. Sapra, but again, you aren't answering my question. Between 1962 and when you lost power in 2014, what has the Congress government really done for infrastructure building compared to what has been done between 2014 and now? Nothing, sir. The track the Chinese were constructing in Doklam was constructed when the Congress was in power. In 2017, the BJP took them out.
I disagree with you. Vishnu, I completely disagree with you.
Okay.
I have clearly said some governments might have worked more in their tenure towards the infrastructure. Some governments might not have worked more, but the current issue is why no discussion in the parliament.
Okay.
Does this absolve,
that question remains unanswered
BJP?
because Mr. Sharma has not answered that question at all.
Does this absolve BJP?
But
or
Mr.
Narendra Modi
Sharma,
from saying
I
that we
think the
have built
larger
infrastructure,
issue,
so we will not have any discussion in the parliament.
Charanjit, I get your point. You made that point, and you made the point that it needs to be spoken about in Parliament. And Mr. Sharma, you've not answered that question at all. But Mr. Sharma, is it not important for the BJP to tell the nation, if not in Parliament, through some other means, that the threat of China is very real? The entire issue of ghuse nahi aur kabhi ghusenge nahi, that is something which is decidedly untrue and incorrect, right? We know what has taken place. From villages in Arunachal Pradesh to Galwan and many other areas, they're still sitting in Depsang within Indian territory, right? Isn't it time for the nation to know the extent of the crisis?
Vishnu, time to time, the government is informing the things. This particular event where Mr. The representative of the Congress, who is actually, they know very well, but they don't answer it. They don't accept what is the reality. They have a perception, and the reality is.
No, but Mr. Sharma, now you are not answering my question.
No, I'm answering you. I'm coming to your point, Vishnu.
So please
do.
Two
things are very clear.
They are
very clear.
One particular perception will go away.
They are fearing that. A statement given by Indian Army and the statement given by the Defense Minister of Government of India, that is very clear. They want unnecessary propaganda into it. So that was the reason they want it. They don't want discuss. They don't want to discuss on the data. What was yesterday and what is today? On what preparation it was there 10 years ago, and now what is the condition? What they did actually with the North and the border
today.
Why what is there? They don't have data. They
on
just
the
want
China-India border.
What are the
reasons for the escalation? This needs to be discussed.
Condemning
and will this government have a new policy?
Both of you, you're both shouting. One second. I'm going to ask you one question each, and then I'll ask General Meston a question. We'll try and wrap it up. Mr. Sapra, what are the top 3 things that India needs to do to counter the threat that we face against China presently?
See, India needs to, relook at their policy, whether that is the political or military engagement or the economic changes. India needs to have a complete perception about China. We need to have a framework that what is going to be our stand in the coming days. And if there is any more aggression or any more escalation, how India is going to tackle, whether that is on the diplomatic level or the defense forces level,
no, but
or any other.
Specifically nothing. So India needs a framework. We need to decide how to tackle China. All right. Mr. Sharma, 3 ways in which you believe that India, or 3 steps that India needs to take to tackle China.
See, whatever the best is there, government with all its ways, by political or diplomatic or the defense preparedness, with the infrastructure, they are doing the needful. The most important underlying thing into it, the party like Congress should get away.
No, sir, I'm asking you a question, sir. You've come on to a debate on a very important issue. I'm only asking for 3 points that you believe need to be done to counter the threat of China?
India needs to be at a position
Mr.
of
Sharma,
strength
one
while
second.
bargaining or
Respectfully, Mr.
negotiating.
Sabra, you hardly
I don't
answered
want
that
to-
question yourself. But Mr. Sharma, let me give you your chance. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to tell you,
Number
whatever
one.
best is there, this government is doing the needful over there. No, already we are doing it. The government is doing it on a
You aren't
diplomatic
answering
level,
my
on
question,
international
sir.
level,
What is the government
on a
doing?
business level.
Can you tell me, as a BJP leader,
government-
sir, 3 things that this government needs to do to tackle the threat of China in Arunachal Pradesh and Ladakh? Tell me 2 things, sir.
Vishnu, already government is doing it. Needs to do government, whatever is doing, they are doing the best. And under this government, the things are safe hand. With the Major General is sitting here, he is the best person to answer it, and he can compare
but
it to what
the
was
Major
there
General can
yesterday
write a
and
book
what
on this
is
subject,
the
sir.
government.
That's just the point that I'm trying to make, and I think a lot of people are trying to make. Both of you are wonderful people of 2 political parties, one of the BJP, one of the Congress. You are on national television, both of you, and I ask both of you the same question. Give us 3 steps to tackle China. Mr. Sapra, you have said that there must be diplomatic steps which are taken and an overall framework.
That is the economic changes.
And
I answered you
and
all
frankly,
3.
Mr.
I
Sharma,
said
you've not given a single
political,
explanation.
military and economic changes. I said all the 3
Economic,
points.
what military changes, sir?
India should be at the position of strength to negotiate with China.
So
whenever we do that.
that's as broad as it could be, sir. I just wanted 3 specific things.
So
General
it has to be
General
broader.
let me
Only
bring it across.
specific things
Let me
can
bring it
come
across
only
to a
while discussion
professional.
is there in the parliament.
Right. Let
Only
me bring it
after
across to a
discussing it in
professional.
parliament, the specific
General
things can
Meston,
come, Vishnu.
One
Everything
second, sir.
cannot
One
come on
second,
the
Mr.
TV
Sapra.
channel.
1 second. General Meston, in your mind, could you list 3 or 4 of the main things that India needs to do to tackle the present challenge, military challenge of China in Arunachal or Ladakh?
Yeah, absolutely, Vishnu. In fact, along the entire LAC, the following are the major recommendations. I would say 3 of the 4 recommendations. First is, where does the contention lie? All points are happening at the line of actual control. So we have to resolve that. How? Firstly, there are a lot of existing protocols starting from 1988 to Joint Working Group, the 93 protocol, 96 protocol, 2005 protocol, 2013, 2014 protocols. All these protocols need to be revisited by both Government of India and the Chinese. We have to sit down together, considering the latest ground position.
Great.
We have to
So the
revisit
actual
these
ground
protocols.
position has to be sorted. Next point, sir.
So that is one. Second point is there has to be a firm political resolve, including the opposition has to be united, because this is affecting the nation. Every day we are having friction points and these so-called clashes, and it can tomorrow manifest into a major incident, a tactical thing. Supposing some firing takes place, it can result into a war-like situation. So we have to prevent that. And therefore,
point number 3, sir.
Yeah, so we need to sit down firmly and resolve this border issue at both diplomatic and political level, and incorporate people from the armed forces
What
as well.
different I said, Vishnu?
Point number 3,
I said
sir.
all the 3 points what the Major General is
Point
talking.
number 3 is that we need to continue to focus on infrastructure development, which is being done, so that tomorrow, in case there is a conflict, we have a strong strategic deterrence to ward off any threat to China. I think these are 3 specific points I have.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us. Perhaps we needed to get a lot more specific on what needs to be done, but I do agree with the General that unless there is a proper demarcation of the line of actual control, this is going to go on forever. But that is the root problem which has never been resolved. I wish our political leaders were more specific in how they wanted to take on the threat of China. We'll take a short break. More coming up.